What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, along with Big G. Welcome to the big show. Welcome to Steelers Almighty, man. We are gonna have a good show today. Lot to go over, man. A lot to go over. We're gonna cover that crazy game against the Eagles, man. It wasn't good. We'll talk about that. Give you little updates on some of the injuries that are going on with the Steelers. Some good news, actually. Little bit of good news to report out there. So we're going to cover all of that. Also, talk about next week's game against the Baltimore Ravens. Big G, is basically the game that we've been waiting for all year. It's the only game that matters until the playoffs. It's the only game that matters until the playoffs. If the Steelers win, then we win the division. If they lose, we can still win the division, but it's going to be tough. It is really, really going to be tough. So I'm interested to see exactly what's going to happen in that football game, how we're going to get prepared for that football game. But either way, I'm looking forward to it, man. So I like what we're doing. Remember, everybody, like, follow, subscribe. Always get in the comments section and continue to hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Steelers Almighty content comes out. Remember, if you want your comment up on the screen and your rant, whatever it is, you know exactly how to do that. You go right to the front of the line. Super chats are wide open to get up there. So let's get after it. First off, Big G, how you doing, my man?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling fine. I'm a little upset, man, because I watched that all 22 film about 45 minutes to an hour before we came on air. And boy, I got some grievances, man. Somebody getting sent to HR. I don't know who getting sent to HR, but I got some grievances, man, because this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And when we start talking about the grades, I got something for them this week, B. Something for them.
Yeah, it was it wasn't good. Let's just say that early. It was not good. I did find some stuff in my all 22. You know, a lot of people, and I'm going to ask your opinion on this real quick before we get to our injury update, Big G. A lot of people keep talking about getting rid of the toss play. We can't run the toss play. And my thing is, there were several times in this football game where we called it. It was blocked, except one guy doesn't do his job. Now, so people are saying, well, it's a terrible play call. What are we doing? I'm like, hold on a second. The play call was fine. If you execute the play call, we're looking at 7, 8. There was one time, if Broderick Jones blocks his man, it's a minimum 15-yard gain. Everybody's blocked. But he missed, so we can't just get on to that. I was going to ask you what you think about people getting on Arthur Smith about calling all these toss plays, because teams have made the adjustments. They're going to a 5-man line covering up the center and both guards, saying, you're not running the ball inside on us. You're going to have to go outside. The Steelers got to do it. They got to continue to either run toss or outside zone.
Well, that's facts, because not only they run a 5-man line, they're adjusting to the strong side of the field every time. When on the Eagles line, watch them shift. Watch them shift. Man, I watched that. I was watching. I said, oh, man, they shifting every time. They pinching the two guys inside of the center and the guards, and they're like, you're not going inside. So you got to run it. But like I said, when we get to the grades, Broderick Jones, McCormick, Dan Moore, y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble when we get to the grades, because this, man, look, I was hot, boy. I'm talking about if I was the coach, somebody's going to the bench. I don't care who it is. But it was ridiculous, bro. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Steelers got manhandled up front. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's get to some injury updates here. First things first, let's talk about TJ Watt. Said he was walking around fine, didn't have a boot, didn't have a brace, didn't have any crutches, nothing. He didn't practice today, but I mean, this wasn't a day he was going to practice anyway. You know, as a veteran, those guys get off today. He's probably going to be off tomorrow. They're not going to do a whole lot of hitting and stuff. They're not going to do any hitting this week, especially this late in the season anyway. So for me, it sounds like TJ Watt's going to be good to go, because he wasn't limping. He wasn't limping, no brace, no crutch, not even a boot. Usually guys with a sprained ankle, at least they got a boot walking around. He didn't even have that. Now, maybe when he leaves, he might have a boot where media can't see.
Mhm.
But in the locker room, he didn't have any of that. And so I think TJ is going to be a go for the week, Big G. We need that.
Yeah, well, I mean, shoot, he's a must-have. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of dudes on a must-have, but TJ got to go. He has
Yeah.
to, and he will. He will. If TJ's 80%, he's going to go. Nothing's
he's
going to
gonna
keep him
go.
out of the lineup. Yeah.
He's going to go. Even better news, George Pickens out there today, something that we hadn't seen the last couple of weeks. He was out there running around today, doing the ladder drill, trying to get some bursts going again. So running on the opposite field. All signs point to George Pickens playing this week because here's my thing about Pickens and TJ Watt. If they can go this week, they need to go because if the Steelers win this football game, we lock up the 3 seed and then rest them the last 2 games of the year. They don't even need to play the last 2 games of the year, especially if Kansas City wins this week. Because if the Chiefs win this week, the Steelers can't catch them for the 1 seed. We're not going to be able to catch Buffalo. So we're going to be the 3 seed no matter what. So if we win this week, just rest those 2 guys the last 2 games. I don't see there being any reason to play them. Now, we did get some bad news, Big G. Deshaun Elliott wasn't moving around. I mean, he was out there, but he wasn't moving around. He didn't do ladder drill. He wasn't doing anything explosive. He was just kind of out there moving around. I would suspect that Deshaun Elliott's not going to play this week, which that's not good. Well, we got King Henry coming to town. That's not a good sign, man, not having him down in the box.
Yeah, it's going to be about, I say 65 not playing, 35 playing. But it don't look good, man. Now, things could change, though, B. You know, things could change depending on how treatment go and all whatever else and how he responds to treatment. But as of now, no, dog, he's not playing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like he's playing. Then Larry O, it looks like Larry O will be playing. Larry O was out there doing explosive stuff, things that you would have to be stressing your growing out, had no ill effects, wasn't walking around, wasn't limping. So I suspect Larry O is going to go this week, which, again, going to help in the run game, which we're going to need because regardless of what Lamar Jackson did this past week against the pathetic Giants, you got to stop the run first. Period. End of story. If you don't stop the run, you're going to have problems. So there's kind of an update there as far as injuries. Justin Fields, I guess, was hurt, but he was kind of moving around and doing his thing. So that's kind of the news on the injury front there. So good news, not great about Deshaun Elliott, but we'll see. We'll see. Like you mentioned, you got the rest of the week. Today's Wednesday. You got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to see how it goes. So for a big game on Saturday, we'll see what's up.
Facts.
Now let's get to the old report cards, Big G. Look, I warned everybody that it was going to be brutal. And dag nabbit, it was brutal.
Facts.
Starting off with quarterback, Russ wasn't any good. Held on to the ball on several occasions too long. I even put one in the offensive line breakdown where we gave up a sack. Don't get me wrong. And it looked bad. Both the tackles got their just butts kicked. However, at the top of the drop, guys were open. Russ could have got rid of the football, and he didn't. And he held on to the ball just a second too long, and then he got sacked. But Russ wasn't good. 38 passer rating, 128. Guys weren't open, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't on top of his game. I gave Russ a D for the day.
B, the only reason why Russ don't get an F is because he threw a touchdown pass.
At 100%.
That's the only reason why, because the rest of the game that I watched, man, listen, there was dudes running wide open, bruh. I saw Mike Williams running wide open. I saw Calvin Austin III running wide freaking open on crossing routes.
Yep.
I saw seam routes running wide open. He held onto the ball, bro.
Yeah.
He held onto the ball. So he gets a D, maybe D minus for me, because F was looking him in the face outside of that touchdown pass.
Yeah, here's the thing, and some people in the chat are saying this, that, Russell Wilson is short. Russell Wilson didn't shrink. He's been short his entire career. And he still didn't hold on to the ball this long. So he got to find a way to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. The Eagles' defense is really good, but guys were open. He just didn't have a good game, man. He just didn't.
Facts.
Didn't have a good game. But I will say this. He also didn't turn the ball over, So when we go to our running backs here, look, the running backs didn't have a good game either. But again, they can only be as good as the offensive line because they're so dependent on having something there. There just wasn't a lot there. However, you fumble my football, Big G. You know how I am. I don't care. I don't care. There is zero excuse for fumbling a football, especially one when you don't even get hit. And you kill all the momentum that we have in a game. Running backs got a D. Period. End of story.
F. Get it? F. Because listen, I know you watched the 22, dog, and I watched it too. There was a few times that Jaylen Warren was trying to hit up in between the tackles, and he should have went wide because you could see where it was blocked. There was a whole bunch of times Najee was trying to scatter back, and he slowed his feet down and stopped his feet versus just explosively hitting a hole. Yeah. Come on, bro. You listen, our offensive line, because boy, when I get to them, I'm gonna tear them up. But our offensive line can't sustain and hold blocks like that, bro. Right. They can't, especially at them tackle positions. So you gotta get the yards you need to get and explode into the hole and don't wait. Ain't nobody named Le'Veon Bell on the Steelers. No. Get up in there and get some yards, man. Get some yards.
Yeah, no, it definitely left a lot to be desired. There was one time Jaylen Warren cuts back directly into Jalen Carter. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Just keep it front side. You don't need to cut back. Even if you can only get 3 yards, just take the 3. Don't take no yards. Didn't make sense. It was a bad effort. Wide receivers.
I think I know the play you was talking about, bro. I think I know the play you was talking about.
I mean, Broderick is blocking him, but he cuts back, and I'm like, why are you cutting back right into him? What are you doing? Just keep it front side. There was something there, but I don't know. The wide receivers weren't great. They didn't get a ton of separation, but there were times where they were open, running free, and they were fine. But I gave them a C on the day just for the simple. I mean, they only had a certain number of opportunities. I probably could have given the wide receivers a better grade because they didn't drop any passes, but there were plenty of times where they were not open. Like guys literally just weren't open. Some of that scheme, some of that is them. But I mentioned this, Big G, and I want to get your opinion. Wide receivers right now, we got a bunch of 3 and 4s out there playing wide receiver, trying to act like they're a bunch of 1s and 2s. You can't fault receivers for their ability, my man.
Facts. That's total facts, bro.
Yeah.
What's even worse, though, the Eagles didn't have no respect for our wide receivers, bro.
No, they didn't.
When I was 22 film, I was watching them roll. They looked like a single high. They dropped a 2, and they rolled the cover to one side, either left or right. And you have receivers that was running one-on-one routes, and they were like, from a defensive standpoint, Russell's not going to throw that pass.
Right.
So they had no respect for any of the receivers on the field. And for 3 and 4, you got to come up with a big play. Even if it's Mike Evans, somebody, you got to come up with a big play. So I give him a C-, bro. C-.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Alonzo Dunn, our man with the first super chat of the evening, said, and that's my beef with Najee. I digress. I get it. That wasn't what Najee's best game. It wasn't. Laughing explosion, fumbling the football. But you know what? You can't blame it all on Najee because this next group played absolutely pathetic. This offensive line got their head beaten in the entire football game. Got embarrassed. There were a few plays here and there. And I'll admit, when we, after the flea flicker, we had some momentum running the football. But other than that, the Steelers couldn't get nothing on the ground. They were terrible in pass protection. They got an F on the day.
F-. F-. They was out there. Listen, McCormick, I like your effort, bro, but you need to get coached up for real.
Yeah.
Because you just olayed a whole bunch of blocks. I don't know what in the heck is wrong with Jones. Jones might be broken already. He's a puppy, but his technique is trash. He doesn't show any upper body level strength. He pushes dudes thinking he could just overwhelm them. Bro, this is the NFL. Them dudes are strong, man. They ain't going for that. And I promise you this much. If I catch Dan Moore Jr. and Jones out there with them Jordan cleats on, thinking they prima donnas playing tackle in the NFL, I promise you, I'm flying to Pittsburgh, and we're going to have a conversation with me and Coach Pat Meyer. Get them cleats off your feet. Get some offensive lineman cleats so you can set your base. Get some strength from your lower body, which you're the strongest part at, because you out there thinking you're a prima donna. You got Air Ordinaries on. You ain't got on Air Jordans. You got Ordinaries. Ordinary tackle play, big trash, F minus.
Yeah, it was bad, man. McCormick was bad. Broderick and Dan Moore, they were bad. Even Zach Frazier wasn't any good. Isaac wasn't good. It was just a poor effort. It was just a poor effort. They physically whipped us up front, man. They did. And overall, I gave the offense a D minus. I mean, I could have given the offense an F, but my fandom showed. But the offense, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. What did we get? 163 yards. We had the ball 20 minutes. Come on, man. 20 minutes of time. That's all we could do. Second straight game in a row, Big G. First 5 drives, 4 of them, we go 3 and out. It just and I don't want to hear all the Arthur Smith doesn't know what he's doing. That's a little bit of it. Don't get me wrong. But there were plays. How about we just execute what's called? You act like, oh, well, he calls a play, so it just has to be a bad play. How about we hold the players accountable sometimes and say, hey, man, why don't you block? Get open. Throw a good pass. Make a good read as a running back. How about we hold them accountable versus automatically saying it's just Arthur Smith? I don't buy that. I just don't buy that, Big G.
B, I don't buy it either, but I'm going to tell you something. This is what I done figured out. What it is we don't have the full depth that we need in the 53-man roster. Because if we did, there'd be some dudes getting put on the bench. And we got to build out the roster, because if you don't have anybody behind you that's going to threaten to take your spot, if you keep playing trash, then you ain't worried about it. Because who else they going to run out on the field? And especially on our offensive line. We got to build that 53-man roster up in that line and at that wide receiver position, bro. We ain't got the depth. We don't have the depth, and I thought we did. But no, we ain't there yet, bro. That's the issue.
Yeah, we had the depth, but the guys got hurt. And that's the difference, is the guys got hurt, and so we had to use it, and now we don't have anybody behind them. That's where the problem is that the offensive line had plenty of depth, but when guys actually were hurting out for the year, then we had to use it, and now we don't have anybody behind them. Go to our man Alonzo Dunn again. He's saying Jones practiced with these guys for 4 years, and they ate his lunch. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They ate his lunch.
Well, people forget Jones was only a 1-year starter at Georgia.
1 year.
Jones started all them years, so he was getting whooped in practice on a regular. It's just that he's got so much potential, because you look at his body mass and his size and his athletic ability, i.e. Jordan cleats, and you thinking that this dude out there can handle his business and technique, he's not solid. And he needs to hit the weight room. He needs to get in the weight room and get some more upper body and get his hands stronger, because that was ridiculous.
I mean, somebody mentioned it in the chat, and I'll just throw this out there. Me and you have already talked about it. Pat Myers got to go. We got to get a new offensive line coach.
Adios, muchachos, bro.
There's no more of, well, the technique is bad. Everybody's technique shouldn't be bad, okay? Everybody's technique shouldn't be bad. At some point, you need a guy that can teach some damn offensive line technique. And clearly he can't do it. We just need to go get another guy.
B, does he join the name We Can't Talk? Or we can't speak on the show?
It's not that bad. It's not
close,
that bad.
bro. It's close.
Because what I will say, while Dan Moore Jr. was bad, he's been okay this year, and he developed, because Dan Moore Jr. was a pathetic tackle the last 3 seasons. Just pathetic. And he at least got better this year. Now, I'm not saying it's been great, but at least he's got better. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Let's go to the defense. Look, I thought the defensive line was okay. The problem is it was the frontline guys that were good. And then anytime that we had to rest TJ, rest Alex Highsmith, rest Cam, the other guys got 0 pass rush, Big G. 0. Preston Smith, nothing. Herbig, nothing. They got no pass rush whatsoever. So while I want to give this a higher grade because of the frontline guys and what they did, I can't do it because of what the backups did. So I gave them a B minus.
I agree with the grade, B. I just think that you saw what all-pro tackles look like in the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you saw what all-pro presence going against them all-pro tackles look. You hit the nail on the head. When TJ and Highsmith was out there, or they was causing problems because
Absolutely.
Philadelphia was like, we just gonna block y'all one-on-one. We,
Yep.
we gonna see. May the best man win. And we was winning.
Yep.
But when the backups came in, nah, bro. Nah. So
It was
I go
totally
with the
different.
B minus.
Yeah, it was totally different. So we got our man, last king of Scotland, Big G, only guy in Pittsburgh that would pay 22 the bum. I mean, they're on your head, Big G. You last week you made your case. You made your case to stick with Najee, saying we had to pay Najee. Are you still staying with that?
Listen, man. Me and the last king of Scotland done had some beef all along, bro. I hear what he talking about. Now, Najee owes. So we gonna see. Now, if he don't show it this week, it might be adios muchachos for Najee. But normally, if you're a pro and you know you messed up the game, or you're gonna play your heart out the next week. And we need it against Baltimore. We need it, bro. We need it. So we gonna see.
Against Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're going to need it against Baltimore. Got our next super chat. Again, man, I appreciate all y'all support for the channel. We both do. Our man Booby, loving y'all chemistry, good brothers. Hey, man, we appreciate it, man. We put this together. I was a guest on their show. I thought it was fire. Our producer thought it was fire. Big G thought it was fire. We said, man, come on over to Steelers Almighty. Let's do this every Tuesday, man. So that's what we got put together. So I appreciate y'all support, and thank you guys for showing up, man. Also on the defense, I thought the linebacking core was okay. Patrick Queen missing too many tackles. Again, not good in coverage. E-Rob, this wasn't a good game for E-Rob either. Now, we stopped the run, and the linebackers were a part of that. So, because the linebackers, again, are a position, they're part of the front seven, and they're part of the back coverage, I guess, whatever you want to call it. The 7-on-7. They're part of all of that. So, but they weren't good in coverage. They were good against the run, not good in coverage. I gave them a C. It just wasn't anything spectacular, Big G.
I agree with the grade. I maybe would have gave him a little bit higher grade based on the fact that Saquon Barkley was basically the number one running back in the NFL. Yeah. We did our job and held him under 100 yards.
You did.
So and he was out there getting tagged. And because we'll get to the DBs and talk about Mika hitting that boy and made him come up out of the game. But overall, like you said, when you're playing an RPO quarterback, he cannot make you get flat-footed as a linebacker or a defensive back. And I saw way too many plays where they would run that little fake RPO and them linebackers froze solid like their feet was in cement. That's the one thing as a linebacker you can never do. You have to have active feet all the time, either aggressively going after the ball wherever it's at, or if you're playing behind you, move your feet. If you're standing flat-footed, you're beat every time. And I saw too much of that, so I got to give him a C grade, bro. Got to give him a C grade.
Yeah, it wasn't good. They got us on, but they were selling out to stop the run, so I understand. But the problem with this is because of this back end. Cornerbacks, Dante Jackson, Joey Porter Jr. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. DeMonte Casey. Again, I talked about this. They inverted Minka and put Minka down on the line of scrimmage because Deshaun Elliott wasn't playing. So they inverted it. Well, the one time, Big G, where KZ had to make a tackle, they ran a quarterback draw. I don't even think he touched Jalen Hurts, did he?
Nope.
Jalen juked. I don't even think he touched him. And I'm like, come on, man. What are we doing here? So I didn't like what they did. 290 yards passing to that offense. I know A.J. Brown is an absolute dog, and he is. Devontae Smith, dog. But don't tell me both of them should be able to go for over 100 yards. I don't want to hear that. 290, I gave the secondary a D, man. And Minka was good because Minka was coming up and hitting people. That's how bad I thought the secondary was, because I thought this was Minka's best game of the year. Yeah. I honestly thought it was. But everybody else was terrible.
I thought JPJ was going to get physical with A.J. Brown, and he didn't. Nope. A.J. Brown lightweight little boyed him and said, bro, this big boy ball, you can't handle this. And listen, there's no way in the God's green earth they should have scored on a one-man route down there on the goal line. Bro, that was a one-man route. Yeah. A.J. Brown physically beat the dude. Nobody else was out in the coverage. You don't never in the NFL, you scored. That's a midget league play, dog. A one-man route, and he scored. So yeah, get him up out of here. I'd have gave him a D or D minus. I'd have gave him a D minus, bro. they almost would have got the big flag too. Outside of Minka, Minka's the only thing that saved them.
Yeah.
So Joey Porter got to play
another
better.
thing, the missed tackles.
Yeah.
Not being able to get off the field on third down, which kind of goes into the overall grade of the defense. Just missing open field tackles is that we basically we get a stop, or we think so, because we make them throw the ball 4 and 5 yards short, and all we have to do is make a tackle, and we can't make a tackle, and then they get a first down. It was just absolutely ridiculous. The last 3 drives, and basically because Philly only had 3 drives in the second half. They had a 13-play drive, another 13-play drive, and then a 21-play drive with over 10 minutes to end the football game. Absolutely atrocious. The defense got a D overall. I could have been worse, but my fandom again showed through. The defense was bad. It was bad. They got physically whipped. They got physically whipped, Big G.
Yeah, we call ourselves being the bully of the AFC and building the bully and with the Pittsburgh Steelers roster. Nah, Omar Khan ain't completed the mission yet, and that's what showed, because that's where he came from. Him and Waddle came from Philadelphia. The mission is to build us into a bully like the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, they got dogs everywhere. Offensive line, defensive line, wide receivers, even the quarterback, he's a dog.
Yeah.
So these boys coming to the game, and they like, look, man, we ain't taking all of this.
No.
And so the only dude that I was proud of, but he got a penalty on him, man, was when Darnell Washington took Slay up in the dang on first row of the bleachers, bro.
Loved it.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's that you got to do that every dang on time. Now, was the penalty foul? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the type of effort and energy that I need every week from everybody on every play. Drive the dude into the dang on stands. Forget the whistle. Let's get physical. But they wasn't physical this week. They got beat up. And that's true facts, bro.
They got beat up. Got beat up. In the comments, our brother man says, why do the Steelers play good teams poorly? It's beyond me. I mean, look, my man, I get it that we're all frustrated that we got beat. But are we saying that the Eagles are the only good team we played? Like, is Baltimore good? Yeah. The Chargers good? Yeah. Are the Broncos good? Yeah. And we beat them. So
Atlanta?
I don't know if Atlanta's any good. I don't. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty positive Atlanta's not good. I said, but them other teams are good, and we beat them. And I get it. We're frustrated, but it can't just be that, hey, we don't play good teams consistently. Because, again, here's the thing about it, Big G. As bad as the Steelers played, and we've talked, they got physically whipped with 6.5 minutes to go in this football game. The Pittsburgh Steelers were on the Philadelphia Eagles' 26-yard line driving to go tie the score with all the momentum in the world. Think about that for a second. As bad as the Steelers looked, they were on the Eagles' 26 with the ball, 1st and 10, driving to go tie the football game. And then Najee fumbled. So keep that in perspective, Steeler fans. Keep that in perspective when we talk about, well, we're horrible and this and it. All of that, not without our best tackler, without our best offensive weapon, without another starting defensive lineman. And that's where the Steelers were with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. So now, don't get me wrong, a game is 4 quarters, but just keep that in mind when we're starting to feel sorry for ourselves. We don't need to. Let's get back to Alonzo here real quick. Them boys look intimidated like the JV. And maybe they did. But like I said, with 6 minutes to go, in the third quarter, we didn't look intimidated.
That's facts.
We didn't look intimidated at all.
Najee got the Tire Fire Award for the week.
We were right there.
Najee was Tire Fire.
Man says, my bad. Don't be. It's not all good, bro. You don't have to apologize. We all get frustrated from time to time. You just got to keep things in perspective, Big G. That's the whole thing, is that we as fans, we get so emotional, we just don't keep it all in perspective. That's it. It's all good.
Hey, you know I'm frustrated at, B?
What's up?
The coaching.
Yeah.
The coaching, man.
I was going to get to that right now. because the special teams I kind of want to gloss over because the special teams was pretty good.
Yeah.
We recovered a fumble. Waitman was okay. Boz, of course, best kicker in the league. But the coaching, Mike Tomlin, again, time management. Right before the end of the half, we wait 26 seconds before we call a timeout. What are you doing? Okay. It didn't end up coming back to bite us, but still, I'm like, what are we doing here, Tomlin? What are we doing? And then on that fourth down, 4th and 7 from the 46, 11 minutes to go, down 2 scores. I understand the philosophy of, hey, we're going to pin them deep and we're going to hope our defense gets off the field. The defense hadn't gotten off the field all night. Like when the Steelers hadn't really stopped them, we forced a couple of fumbles. They had one punt, but the Steelers hadn't stopped them all night. So what made you think that they were going to do it then? I thought you had to go for it. I thought it was coward football, Big G.
Listen, man, I'm starting a petition. Pat Meyer is out of here. Austin is out of here. They got to go, bro. They got to go.
Yeah.
Them 2 coaches, man, bro, you got personnel. Be aggressive. Do something. But people got issues with Smith. I don't have no problem with him. It's execution on that. He's doing a good job with play calling. But that offensive line coach, he got to go.
Yeah,
the defensive coordinator, adios muchachos, my friend. I will holler at you next lifetime. You got to go. So B, they get an F. An F, bro. F for coaching.
Yeah, I gave the coaching. I gave him a C, but I didn't even think about what Pat Myers was doing. It should have been worse because I'm tired of it. My thing is, I think I got caught up because I'm defending Arthur Smith because Arthur Smith, everybody wants to jump on Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith didn't call a bad game. He did not call a bad game. Somebody in the chat is talking about we have to hold the players accountable. You're damn right we do.
Big fact.
I mean, it's not look, we call a play. If it all gets blocked the right way, but one guy doesn't do his job, does that make it a bad play? Absolutely not. If you all go and look at the all 22, I show you several times, especially on those toss plays that everybody seems to hate. The plays block perfect, except one guy misses his assignment. Well, that doesn't make it a bad play. It just means that guy didn't do his job. So let's get to some super chats here. Our man Alonzo Dunn, who always supports us. We love that guy. Big B, hard to watch that no aggressiveness. Early in the game, you're right. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But it seemed like the momentum got changed when Big Washington took Slay and put him into the first row. Yeah. It seemed all of that changed, and then the refs hosed us, which brings us to our second super chat from our man, Brother Man. Can we do anything with refs or hold them accountable or what? Because how many times, y'all been watching football a long time, how many times we seen a skirmish in the end zone, guys pushing and shoving, people throw punches, which Philly guys threw a punch first, and they call offsetting penalties. It is what it is. You move on. How do you call 2 penalties on the Steelers in that instance? How the hell does that happen, Big G?
Well, that's because, listen, me and you been Steeler fans for a long time. The Steelers, we don't get penalties like that, bro. We're not going to win the battle of the referees. That's why we got to build a bully and fight and battle, and go out there and get physically better than the other team and beat them up. That's how we've been playing for years. Yeah. So don't count on the referees giving us no calls. They've been holding TJ Watt since he came to the NFL. You think we're going to get that call? No. So let's just go out there and get physical and beat them up. And it's like we are headed for one drive, and that was it. Where did it go the rest of the way? Come on, man. They got to do better, bro. Got to do better.
Yeah, we can't. First of all, people are trying to, they get in the comments, and not in this particular chat, just in general, and they say, well, the refs, I'm like, the refs didn't lose the Steelers this game. Now, did it cause some momentum changes? Absolutely it did. Steelers were on the 3-yard line. All of a sudden, they end up at the 20-yard line, because of a BS penalty. So, yeah, I get that. Then on the punt, where you see Jalen Carter smack Connor Hayward in the face before the punt happened, he punches him in the face, And then you see the ball being punted after that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it happened after the punt. I'm like, no, actually, the replay shows that it didn't. What are you talking about? So did it change some momentum? It did. But we can't lie to ourselves, Big G, and say that the refs cost us this game. That didn't happen. That wasn't the case.
B, that boy didn't just hit him. He smacked sparks from that boy.
Yeah, he did.
Sparks came up off his face. I said,
I mean,
Lord,
that was a punch.
yeah, he smacked sparks. I was like, oh, God. But hey, I understand you sending a message. You sending a message, and I get it. I understand it.
Our man, brother, man, another super chat. We appreciate the support, man. That Darnell Washington incident remind me of Mr. Blindside, the movie. Yeah, You're right. I mean, he basically just picked him up and took him to the end of the grass on the football field and just say, you stay here. Don't come back over here. This is where you're going to be, right here.
Yeah.
And then the refs even called unnecessary roughness on that. I'm like, come on, man. What are we doing?
Well, Darnell Washington.
Are we going to let guys play football, Big G? What's going on?
Well, Darnell Washington knew what type of game he was in, dog. He was playing against Bulldogs. Yeah. They got like 4 or 5 Bulldogs over there to start on the Eagles. He knew what time it was. It's big boy ball. Now, that's a dude that played 4 years against them dogs. He knew what time it was. So he's like, I'm going to get physical early and show you. Because be on the All-22 film, man, Darnell Washington almost got an A for me, bro. Darnell Washington is a dog. We need to get him the ball, bro. We need to get him the ball. I don't care. Get him the ball,
gotta do
man.
Something to be able to get him the football. I mean, the refs didn't cost the Steelers the game. People in the chat keep saying, "Don't cover for the refs." Come on, man, stop kidding yourself. There's no reason for that. They changed some momentum. Don't get me wrong, but the Steelers got physically whipped.
Facts.
And until you can just admit that the Steelers got physically whipped, nothing else really matters. That happened. Now, we watched it happen. They got physically whipped. Did the refs make a couple of bad calls that changed momentum? Damn right they did. That's not why the Steelers lost. So we got to stop it. Got to stop.
That's facts. I agree.
That's just not how it works. Our man Alonzo Dunn back at it, man, with the super chat again. All I got to say is Jack Lambert. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jack Lambert was a tough guy, but Jack Lambert was about 220 pounds, man. It's not like he was some behemoth out there running around, my man Alonzo. But I get what you're saying. You want that aggressive toughness. I love it. I'm with you.
If he would have said James Ferrier or Debo or something like that, I'd have been like, yeah. Because, I mean, listen, I'm old enough to remember how good and physical the 2010 Pittsburgh Steelers defense was. They changed the game. But you can't play that type of ball no more. But you can be physical and aggressive with effort. And I didn't see the effort, and that's why we got bullied. The effort wasn't from all 53 men on that football team going in there. Tomlin walked in with some black Air Force Ones. The team didn't have Air Force One black mentality. We got whooped, and that's the facts. We got whooped.
Yeah, we just got whooped. And there's nothing wrong with that. It happens. It happens. But again, I'll say this. As bad as the Steelers played, 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, 26-yard on the Eagles' 26-yard line, looking to tie the damn football game up. That's what leaves me so frustrated, is because with the injuries, without our main weapon on offense, without our top tackler on defense, the Steelers were right there. They were right there. And then they just couldn't get off the football field. It was bad. So
yeah, that's facts.
So, and my man Kevin keeps saying we stopped their run game. They still ran for 130 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Saquon didn't have over 100 yards, but they still ran for 130 yards. Not to mention, they went on a 21-play drive to end the football game.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the definition of being physically whipped.
Yeah.
A 21-game play drive, and 3 of those were kneel down. So you take those away, they went on an 18-play drive, 10 minutes and 47 seconds to end the football game.
I got a rule, bro.
Whipped?
Yeah, okay. I got a rule. This is a rule I have. If you have 3 drives that consist of more than 12 plays in a game, you physically beat the other team up.
Yeah.
Because in the NFL, it should be 4 and out, 5 or 6 plays, maybe 7 at the max, and get them up on out of there. Because we're talking about NFL defenses. But when you get 3 drives, Oh, God, don't mention 4. And you get more than 12 or 13 plays, oh,
Yeah,
you out there getting punished. You out there getting punished, man. So, yeah,
exactly.
they got whooped.
They
They
got
got
whooped.
whooped.
And
Yeah.
my man Kevin saying we were tired. I hate to break this to you, my man. I appreciate the support, but part of being tired is when you're getting physically whipped.
Yeah.
I mean that's part of it. So
Mhm.
that's the way it works. You physically beat the other team down to where they're worn down. That's literally the definition of being physically whipped on a football field. That's what
Facts.
happens.
Total
So,
facts.
but I get it. I love them. It just wasn't a good day at the office. It just wasn't a
Mhm.
good day at the office, Big G.
Mhm.
Give me your synopsis of that football game, and then we'll move on to Baltimore.
Well, whooped is, if I had to pick one word, is whooped. But I believe that this is a game that we show that we have to build the roster because they have it. They have the depth at defensive line. They have the depth at wide receiver. They have the depth at, listen, number 14, Gainwell, out there, spell Saquon was out there killing us.
Yeah.
Gainwell has some good runs.
Yeah.
So they have depth at positions that we don't have depth at yet. And so when you get into a phone booth type game and you got to go one-on-one, bro, we just didn't have it. We didn't have it. And I don't know if it was just because we were tired or rookies hitting walls because Zach Frazier, McCormick hitting walls, Wilson hitting walls, Beanie, I don't know. But that game, we don't have the 53-man roster that the Philadelphia Eagles have. We have a good roster. I'm not dogging the roster, but no, we don't have the Eagles roster. We don't have it.
We don't have the roster. We don't have their weapons. But my man Byron Nelson over in the chat said it perfectly. With all that being said, and I've said it 3 different times, I think it's worth repeating again.
Mm-hmm.
We had we were on the 26-yard line of Philadelphia, down 6 or down 7 with an opportunity to go tie the football game up.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's why I still have hope for the season. You get all these people online and on ESPN everywhere. Oh, the Steelers are a fraud, and all that's just selling wolf tickets. If you watch the football game, the Steelers were technically never out of it. They were just getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But until the fumble, they were right. They had their opportunity, which that's why I think we still have a chance. That's why I think we had a chance. So,
yep, agreed. Total agree.
But let's move on to Baltimore. So, look, we played Baltimore once already at home. We beat them. We got Baltimore's number, 8 out of the last 9. Baltimore fans will be quick to tell you, but Lamar Jackson didn't play in half of those games. And they're right. He was either injured or he sat out because they had the division clinched. So that you're right. He didn't play in half of those football games. But we've also beat him. What are we 1-4, or he's 1-4 against us?
Yep.
So it's not like Lamar Jackson is just out there cooking the Steelers. That's not what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I like this matchup, especially if our guys come back. I don't think Deshaun Elliott's going to play. We get Pickens back. I think we got an opportunity. The one thing that we know that the Ravens are going to do, they're going to come out early and try to punch us in the mouth, just like the Eagles did.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember the first game against the Ravens, they only gave Derrick Henry the ball 13 times. I don't think that's going to be the case this game. I think they're going to he's going to have a minimum of 20 carries. But the Steelers just have to keep hitting him. They just got to keep hitting him and tackling him and just saying, no, you're not going to run the football. I don't care what you want to do. You're not going to run this football.
Well, B, I'm going to say this, bro. The Ravens know us. We know them. Tomlin's got in Harbaugh's head a little bit as far as being able to beat him regularly, right? But it's going to make all the difference in the world is if we get off to a fast start. We cannot wait until the 4th or the 5th drive of the game and putting a touchdown on the board.
No.
We have to score early and often against Baltimore because we can physically win the game. We've shown it for years. You can win at 18-16. You can win at 14-10. You can win at 17-13. I understand that. But when you got to get those touchdowns, it's early. You need to be up 10-0, 13-7 going into halftime or 10-3 going into halftime. So we got to score when we have the ball and momentum to score, which leads me to my whole point. When are we going to start changing the play calling inside of the red zone? We have a weapon just like Lamar Jackson, just like Jalen Hurts. That listen, I love Russie. I'm not dogging Russie, but I think that inside the red zone, Russie ain't got it. Let's bring on number 2 out there, dog, and give us a chance to get a touchdown. He's got more touchdowns in the red zone than Russ got. He does.
I think it's more of inside the 10-yard line than just inside the red zone, because wouldn't want Justin Fields out there from the 18.
Okay.
But if we're inside the 10, absolutely bring him in. We're first down. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that fact of Justin. Now, he couldn't play the other day against the Eagles because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't know it until what they said at halftime. He hurt an oblique on that slide.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't go back into the game. So it is what it is. But yeah, we're going to need him. We're going to need him. We needed him. Remember the last time he ended the game against the Ravens, didn't he?
Yeah.
And with that slide?
Yeah.
So, we're going to need him again. So we need all hands on deck to win this football game. Mike Tomlin said it the other day in the press conference. Everybody that's available needs to be available. Now, here's one thing that I'm going to say. Now, I said in here a couple weeks back that Corey Trice was technically the best cornerback that we had on the football team.
Mm-hmm.
If Corey Trice doesn't play this week, if they can't get him a helmet, chat, Big G, answer me this question. Why does he need to be on our football team? Like, if he's not better than James Pierre, and again, I'm not trying to knock James Pierre, but he's not that good of a corner. Good special teams guy, not that good of a corner. If we can't have him, if he can't be better than him, then why is he out there? Like, why is he on the 53 man? Like, what's the purpose if every week he's going to be inactive? And James, because he had to play this past week, Pierre had to play. You're telling me Corey Trice isn't as good as him or better than him? Well, if that's the case, I'm sorry, we don't need that guy.
Yeah. Corey Trice's biggest problem is he's unavailable to play when we need him. He's got all the potential in the world. We've seen it already this season with play on the field. When he was available to play, he made big plays. Yeah. He got a critical interception against the Denver Broncos. So Corey is serviceable, or to be actually good, or maybe, like you said, technique-wise, the best cornerback for the Steelers. But if he can't play, he's taking up a spot. We might have to go get another guy, bro, or at least demote him down to the practice squad, do something, because if you're holding that up, then we got to move forward with having a guy who's available to play. So you got to get him a helmet. If he doesn't get a helmet this week, then, hey, man, he's done for the season. No more of this, no more playing around. Let's just, because he's not going to play at all. So we need him this week. We need him to play. We need him in that role as our second or third, especially with Jackson not playing. We need him this week. So come on, bro. Let's get him in there, bro. Let's get him in there.
We need him this week. Like I said, we need all hands on deck, all available and best players need to be able to be out there. No more of the nonsense. No more of the nonsense out there. We got to have it. We need everybody to be able to contribute this week. And I think we will. I think this is a big bounce back week for the Steelers, because at least this season, you haven't seen the Steelers. Well, I guess the Colts and the Cowboys game were 2 bad games in a row. But since then, we haven't seen really 2 bad games in a row for the Steelers. I don't think this is going to be the case. It's for all the marbles. We're going to find out what kind of team we got. That's all I'm going to say. We are going to find out what type of football team that we have. So, prediction for the game. Chat, get involved. What do you all think the score? Now, it's early, and we don't know, so I'm not going to hold anybody to it. Don't hold me to it, because we still don't know exactly who's going to play. But prediction for the game. Give me some scores. Big G, give me one.
So I'm going to say that if all hands are on deck and all hands are available, the Pittsburgh Steelers will go into Baltimore and win 24-17. That score changes based on availability of players. So it'll fluctuate up and down. But I think that we have enough ability, because we give Lamar fits. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
We give them, and normally, Freiermuth has a good game against them. Normally, Pickens has a good game against them. Najee owes. So, Najee, you got to get, look, Najee, if you don't give me your best game of the season, I'm on board with the chat. I'm on board with all the people over there. It might be adios muchachos, my friend. So you owe this week, bro. I need 110, 120. I need you to get physical. Stop trying to bounce and act like you Le'Veon Bell. Get up in there and get some critical yards that we need on weighty downs.
Yeah.
Defense, show up. Show up this week and handle your business. And I think the Steelers can win 24-17, bro.
Yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be lower than that. I would give me 17-16 Steelers.
Oh.
Give me 17-16 Steelers. I think it's going to be that low scoring. Now, the difference is we've struggled the last couple of weeks with our pass defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it seems like the Ravens have figured it out. Well, you can't figure it out if you're running for your life. And I think that's going to be the keys. The Steelers got to get after Lamar continuously, get after him. Pressure up the middle is always key against Lamar, and then just don't let him run around the edge. You do that, like the Steelers have done, they got an opportunity to win this football game. So I like low scoring, 17-16. So,
hey, B, there's two guys on Baltimore we got to stop. Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry. If we limit them, we're going to win. Bottom line, from a defensive standpoint, if Andrews doesn't blow up on us, because Andrews usually has a game where he just destroys us, so we got to stop Andrews, and you got to hit Big Boy. Keep punishing Big Boy. Don't, we know he's going to get 25 carries, 20 carries to 25. We know it. Punish him. Hit him every time because he'll quit. Just like he did the first time. He'll give up. That's his MO. So I hope, man. I'm hoping. Because like you said, this is for all the marbles, dog. This is it.
Yeah, this is for all the marbles.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely for all the marbles. So we'll see. I hate that Deshaun Elliott's not going to play, which, again, it hasn't been officially ruled that he won't. I just don't think that he will, so I don't like it. But we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out. Brother man asked, why can't the Steelers capitalize on turnovers? Well, they couldn't capitalize the other day on turnovers. Well, they get in their own way. They get in their own way. I mean, there's not a whole lot else that you can say. They just haven't been good at doing that. They got physically beat up the other day. So that's one of the reasons. But it just wasn't a good day. I think we can all just agree it just wasn't a good day against the Eagles.
Yeah,
it just wasn't. And that's
it's
okay.
It's red zone, though, dog. It's red zone.
Well, yeah, but they were 1 for 2 in the red zone the other day. But remember, we got down to the 3, and then we got the big penalty and had to settle for the field goal.
Yeah.
So, the other time we scored a touchdown. So it wasn't red zone against the Eagles. It just, we got pushed back when it's 2nd and 18. That makes from the 20, that makes a huge difference versus being 2nd and 3 from the 3, so there's a huge difference there.
That's facts.
My man Alonzo says Derrick Henry has never ran for a buck against us. Well,
and he ain't going to.
We got to make sure that he doesn't.
Yeah. So, you got to hit Big Boy. You got to punish him right off the bat. You let him know he's in the ball game. Listen, I've been watching Derrick Henry since Alabama. Derrick Henry, I saw Derrick Henry early on. I was like, man, he's huge. He's a load. But if you hit him early and often, he going to quit. I've been watching him since Bama. That's his MO. He intimidates people because of how big he is. He gets one of them truck sticks and hits you all like that. Oh, now he's going to rev it up. Hit his big behind. Just crack him one time, and he'll be like, oh, man, here we go again with this. He ain't going to run with enthusiasm in that fourth quarter, bro. I'm telling you right now. I know him. I done studied him for years.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry is a load. He's tough to deal with, tough to handle. So, all right. So we're going to go to our producer question. We had a real good producer question last week. So we're going to get to our producer question. It's a secret question that me and Big G don't even know.
Facts.
So where is the producer question? So here it is. One each side of the ball, which I'm thinking we're saying on each side of the ball, which current Steelers starter would you most like to see replaced in 2025?
Mm.
Also, would you rather see the position filled via free agency, draft, or someone already on the roster? I'm going to let you go first, Big G.
Woo, that's a hard question. Well, offense is easy. 65 to the bench. 65, Dan Moore to the bench. Cooked. I don't care whatever you want to say. Adios, muchachos. Goodbye, dog. Broderick Jones goes to left tackle. Do we have the right tackle? Troy Fautano. So that's my main dude on offense. Dan Moore, yeah, you look better this year, but you got to go, dog. We got to go with Jones and Fautano at tackles. Now, the other question of it is, would you rather see the position filled, draft pick, or somebody already on the roster? Well, we got the tackles, but they just got to be healthy and available. So that's on offense. On defense, Jackson. I mean, Jackson has played well this season. He was a good trade from Carolina. I like him, but he gets hurt a lot. So I think that if you got in the NFL, you got to have two corners that are available that are like avatars. Corey Trice is supposed to be that guy. Maybe not. So we might have to go corner and maybe even the first round, because I know we need a lineman. We need a WR number 2. But, yeah, we got to get another corner, bro. So I'm saying draft a corner to replace Jackson.
So for me, I think it's easy. I think the chat's going to agree. Najee Harris needs to be replaced on offense. That's number one. Before anything, Najee Harris got to go. Got to get another guy. It's not that I don't like Najee. I think he's fine, but for the amount of money that he's going to command or make, we can find somebody to do his job for way less. Way less. On defense, but I guess technically I say Najee, but who's the Steelers' other starting receiver? What is it, Van Jefferson?
Yep.
So if it's really Van Jefferson and he's the number 2, and we're saying that Calvin Austin is in the slot, the number 3, whatever you want to say, wide receiver would be my first question. But neither here nor there. I think it's Najee. That would be the guy that I would say you have to go. And you can find somebody in the draft that can do what Najee does for way less money, to where we can pay other people on the offensive side of the football. On defense, I'm with you. On defense, look, it's not that Larry O's is going to be out of a contract, so we got to have another defensive line, because we got to get younger on our defensive line. Period. Larry O 30, Cam 35. We got to get younger fast. So we got to draft the defensive line. Got to be the first draft pick. I know a lot of people are going to say receiver. We might be able to get a receiver in free agency if we spend the money. Having said all that, we got to draft a D lineman. That would be my first choice. Go out there and get us a D lineman.
B, I just started watching all 22 film because you was talking about Najee so bad last week. I'm looking around for another running back. So I done found Rock Sanders, but I think I done found another one down there in Big 12 country, man. I like that Ollie Gordon kid, man. Ollie Gordon might be able to do what Najee does. Maybe. He might be able to pull it off, bro.
Well, he's faster than Najee. He's big and he's faster than Najee. And he's more shifty than Najee. That's the difference. He didn't have a great year this year, but that was because Oklahoma State's offensive line was garbage, and so was their quarterback. So
facts.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Somebody said, where do you find the all 22? Hey, man, Steelers Almighty, we got an all 22 that we do with the offensive line. It came out today. We do one each week. Yeah. So it is in the video section. Go check it out. You can find all 22. We break down the offensive line for each game, my man. So make sure you guys go check that out. But that was a good free agency question, man. I agree. The only thing is, I don't think we replace anybody with anybody on the roster. I don't think, other than if you want to talk about Dan Moore and moving Broderick over. But as far as everything else, I'm tired of spending all the money on the Steelers defense. I'm tired of it. It's time to spend money on the offense. It's just time. It's time. Yeah. It's a league to where you can't spend all your money on the defensive side of the ball and expect to win playoff games. You just can't do that. You tried to do it. Mike Tomlin tried to prove it. Kevin Colbert, they tried to prove it. Didn't work. Time to move on. Time to adapt.
But you know what that spell, right? Pay Russie.
Yeah, we got to pay him.
Got to pay Russie. Got to pay him. Got to pay him.
Yeah.
Because and draft a quarterback maybe in the second or third round.
The thing about it is that Russ isn't going to get does Russ think he's going to get $50 million a year? He's not. I think the Steelers can give him 35 and just say, here it is, my man, 35 million, 2 years, take it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's 70 million. We'll give it to you guaranteed if you want, but you get 70 million over the next 2 years. Let's make this thing work. And I think Russ will be happy. Hell, Russ is in the top 4 of the most money ever made by NFL players all time. Because everybody thinks, well, what about the money that he made? Hey, man, Russ, would be his third big contract. Third. Not first, not second, third big contract. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yep.
Well, Big G, before we get out of here, look, man, everybody, we appreciate y'all being in here. We are on live every Tuesday. We are going to be here. Big G is a part of Steelers Almighty, the big show every Tuesday. We appreciate y'all's support. Make sure, like I mentioned, go check out the All 22. That came out today. It comes out on Tuesdays every week after every game that we play. Make sure you guys go check that out. The scouting report always comes out right after the game the next day, which most of the time that's on Monday. If we play on Monday, it's on Tuesday. So make sure you guys go check that out. Big G, let everybody know where they can find you, my man.
Man, thank you guys again for rocking with us, man. It's always a pleasure to come over here because I'm part of the big show now. I'm in the big family. So we're going to have a big time and a good time every Tuesday, man, and I'm over here. And we'll look for a little bit of something moving forward, maybe over here on Steelers Almighty. But you can find me currently on Steel Curtain Network, man. I'm on Wednesdays and Fridays with Pump Your Brakes and the Homies and Homies Overtime Podcast. But mainly, I'm on the KnoItAllz Podcast every Sunday at 6 o'clock. And we're trying to get 1,000 subs. So you can check me out on the KnoItAllz at capital KNOITALLZ Podcast. All you do is hit the subscribe, and become a member, and you get the same type content with the Steelers, NFL, NCAA football, and NBA over on the KnoItAllz Podcast.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you being in here. Glad you joined up with us. Look, as always, man, y'all, tomorrow we got the podcast that's coming out. We got the scouting report that's going to come out on Friday of the Ravens. I think I'm going to be able to get Kevin from Locked On Ravens again. So he hit me back. He said, we just got to set up a time. So we should be able to get him again for our scouting report podcast on the Ravens that comes out Friday. So appreciate everybody that was in here, man. Thank you guys for showing up, showing out. We appreciate you all. We will holler at you all later. Aloha.